And for those of us looking forward to the elites getting exposed, this video is for you. Diddy's lawyers just said something that's going to shake not only the entertainment industry, probably all the elites that have been associated with Diddy. Now, what he said that Diddy's ready to testify. And he strongly implied that Diddy's going to start naming names and implicating others. And this is the thing, it's getting juicier and juicier every single day. Of course, you heard about Jay-Z, but it gets so much deeper than that. And it really comes down to, do you think they're going to get busted with Diddy? Well, Diddy's not going to go down without a fight. Keep in mind that Diddy's in his mid-50s. So even if he got 15 years, even if they gave him a soft deal of 15 years, do you think he's going to take that deal? That would put him at 70 years old. For a guy like Diddy that's got an outsized ego, he's got all the money in the world, and he's lived the last 30 years pretty much doing anything he's wanted to do, both legally and illegally. And he's had the means, on the legal side, he's had the money to buy whatever he wants, get the cars he wants, the homes he wants, to travel where he wants. And then on top of it, again, if you take out all the crimes, everyone who's anybody, great looking people, famous people, elite people, all wanted to be around this guy. Okay, so essentially he had the world at his feet and he threw it away. If he's looking at a long sentence now, which essentially he probably is, and like I said, the minimum would be 15, and that puts him at 70. So there's no way he's just going to take a deal like that, be quiet, go away, do his 15, come out when he's 70, and live the rest of his life. There's no way. On top of it, not to mention I don't know if you call them rumors, but I guess the allegations, rumors, whatever you want to call it, about the heavy drug use that he's been involved in, which to me it's kind of shocking, because I never thought of Diddy as someone who would be involved like that. I always thought he was pretty clean, and maybe that's naive. I guess, people now look at me and say, like, what are you thinking, Diddy? I knew he was a bad guy, but I didn't think he'd get involved with like drugs and all that. But regardless. So what's he going to do to try to get himself out of it? Well, what has he done before? He's always ratted out other people, snitching on other people, threw other people under the bus. He did obviously in the famous case in the nightclub shooting. Him and J-Lo were the ones with the gun. All the witnesses said it was Diddy who pulled the trigger. J-Lo had the gun. What was in her purse? They were fleeing the cops. They got pulled in. They got. I don't remember if they got arrested off the top of my head. I don't remember if they got arrested, but they got pulled in and questioned by the cops. And of course, when it was looking like Diddy was going to do, 15, 20 years, he threw Shine under the bus, who did the time for him. And they put it all on him. If you remember too, Diddy was on MTV crying, saying he couldn't go to jail, and he did at that time. And all the other times, he's always thrown other people under the bus, gotten other people to take the blame from him on multiple other occasions. So you can't think that this is going to be any different. And not only is it not going to be any different, but the stakes are so much higher. I mean, we thought the stakes were high in the nightclub incident with the gun, and it was high. This is so much more, because now they're talking about a life. They're talking about a life sentence. I mean, that's incredible. And when you get to Diddy's age, mid-50s, really 15 years, 20 years becomes a life sentence. Because when you start thinking about, when you think about the life expectancy of a male, I think is like 71 years old in the U.S., that's essentially a life sentence. So he's not gonna just go away on this. So what's he gonna do? Who is he gonna talk? And this is the thing, the lawyer has indicated he's going to talk like he was so arrogant when he came on and said it. The lawyer, calling out to the elite, saying, "Hey, be ready. This is what's coming." So who's some of the people that's tied to him? I mean, there's going to be a lot of politicians probably. I would assume, but that we don't know about for sure, because of course he's tied to politicians. But do we know any that for sure went to the Diddy parties? But who's been to the Diddy parties? LeBron. And LeBron's on tape saying, what has he said? Like, oh, no party like a Diddy party. LeBron's an idiot. I can't stand LeBron. Here's the thing about LeBron. It's kind of funny because I respect his talent. And But see, I like the old school basketball, like the tougher players. I like and I guess the tougher mentality. But I'm not going to go off on a tangent, but I like Michael Jordan. You know, the Michael Jordan, LeBron James debate. Jordan 100% of the time for me. Okay, but one thing I do respect about LeBron is, despite all the criticisms he gets, and despite of, in my opinion, him being kind of an idiot a lot of times, like when he'll read a book, he'll have a book out that obviously he's going to be questioned about it. He'll have this bookmark at the very end of the book, and to imply that he's read this whole book, they'll ask him about the book, and he'll have no idea what he's talking about. Okay, so that's the thing. It's like LeBron James is a billionaire. He doesn't have to read a book. So why are you pretending you're reading a book? That's my issue with him. But in LeBron's defense, in his 20-some year career, he's never been in trouble. He's never been in trouble. He's never done anything. He's never gotten in trouble with the law. He's never what we know. He's never had some scandal where he has other kids and cheated on his wife and this and that. But he's ain't no party like a Diddy party. And then there's a picture floating around of LeBron in like a maid's outfit, like a woman's maid outfit. And I don't know if that's a real picture or not. I've seen conflicting things, that some say it's a fake picture, some say it's a real picture. There's a video, but again, the video, it's like it's some say it's a fake video, some say it's a real video. I have no idea, so I'm just leaving that one alone. But LeBron's obviously been to the Diddy parties. He said there's no party like a Diddy party, and LeBron seems like he might fit into that Diddy party scenario. So is more going to come out? Is there videotapes of LeBron? He's been pretty quiet since this came out. And again, here's the thing. All these celebrities have been very quiet. No one's been talking. I mean, there's been like literally 5 people who've come to his defense. Like Ray J's come to his defense. A couple of people came to his defense. But everyone else is quiet. Why are they quiet? Are they quiet because they might be on video too? Is that what they're worried about? That if they speak too loud, they're going to get pulled right into it? Are they hoping if they're quiet that maybe they're not charged, they get missed on the video, they don't see, or the feds don't worry about them because they're just after Puff, they're just after Diddy? That's a possibility. What about Ashton Kutcher? He was obviously had ties to Danny Masterson. He wrote that letter saying what a great guy he is, and we know what Masterson did. He got convicted of, and he's going away for a long time. And he was on tape too, talking about things he couldn't talk about at a Diddy party. On the surface, I don't think that's that big of a deal, because if you go to a party, someone asks you about it, you might say, hey, I really can't talk about it. But when you know what he's been involved, when you know who he's been tied to, and you know what went on in the Diddy parties, all of a sudden it makes you question. Like, it makes you question his judgment. It makes you question, what was he doing at these parties? And what can he talk about? And again, is he on the tapes? Does he know what's on the tapes? And will he be pulled into this? And what about J-Lo, another very high-profile person? There's been a lot of talks that she's getting dragged into this. Now, I tend to think it's all rumor and speculation, and J-Lo has kept a pretty squeaky clean image for the last 20-some years, but there's people speculating that there's things on the tape that broke up her and Ben. I don't necessarily believe that, but a lot of people think there is. Now, here's a speculation too, and my thought is they're just going after Diddy. They're not worried about any other celebrities, and that's the case. Diddy is such a big player, big fish, whatever you want to call it, that the feds might just want to nail him, set an example. There's going to be a lot of government people that are going to make their careers out of this, that they're going to become known for bringing down Diddy. So they might not be worried about anyone else. But here's the big but: if the celebrity is big enough, like J-Lo, maybe like Jay-Z, maybe like Justin Bieber, maybe like Martha Stewart, they might go after them too. And another one too is Justin Bieber. And what's interesting about Bieber is that, people are feeling sorry for him, myself included, because it's been pretty obvious that he's been a victim early in the industry. When he came in the industry at 12, 13 years old, he's in there before, but when he got associated, that we know that he was associated with Diddy at 12, 13 years old. And it seems pretty telling that he's been a victim from Diddy, maybe from other people. But here's my question: did he also become an aggressor? Did he also become a culprit? Did he also become a criminal in that? Did he start getting involved on the other side of it at the parties? Did he become, instead of being the victim at a party, as he got older, did he become the aggressor at a party? Is that a possibility? I tend to think it is, and I tend to think that's why he's so worried and shook up now, because he might be worried about or he might know what he's on tape doing, and he might be worried about that coming out. And he's a big enough global star that if he's on the tapes, that the government might go after him too, because again, that's another notch on their belts. And keep in mind that the feds, when they go after these people, yeah, they're busting crime. But here's the thing. It's been an open secret with Diddy for 20 some years. I've been following him because it's kind of sad to say it now, but I've been a huge fan of his. So I followed him, right? And everyone knew, if you follow him, you knew he was a bad guy. You knew he wasn't like a squeaky clean guy. Now, yes, is it way worse than I ever thought? Of course it is. Yeah, I think way worse than anyone thought. So you're telling me that the feds never knew any of this stuff going on? I'm not buying it. But again, they go after him when it gets big enough, when lawsuits happen, and then they go after him. Okay, fine. They make careers off of busting a high-profile guy like him. So, and again, if they find another high-profile person like Bieber, like J-Lo, they very well may go after them too. Here's another one too that criticized, and I question it because I question Howard Stern has been at a Diddy party. Now here's the thing. Howard Stern, I used to like him. I still listen to him, but he's become an elite. Like, he went from being an average guy to being an elite. Now you can say, well, the guy's worth $500 million. Yeah. And does that change you? Of course. And could one side of, an argument against would be, well, he's matured and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. The thing that I don't like him, what he did with the Diddy thing, he went to a Diddy party, right? And then when Diddy gets raided by the feds, he comes out and is like all high and mighty about it. He talked about how he went to the party, but he hated it. Really? And then what's really stupid, he talked about how he peed on Diddy's lawn because there's no restrooms there. Like, I don't know if I'm believing any of that. Like, Howard Stern is all righteous and he's all good, and he goes to the party and he's the good guy and Diddy's the bad guy, and he leaves the party because the party was so stupid and boring and there's no restrooms and he wouldn't let him in the house. It's like, I'm not buying it from Stern. Years ago I might have, but now he's become one of the elites, and it almost feels like he's saying what's convenient, what's going to protect himself. And of course, all these people are protecting themselves, and I don't blame them. But I don't know if I'm believing it from Howard Stern. Oh, another one too that I haven't really heard much about is Russell Brand. And what's interesting about Russell Brand is he's been accused of quite a few things in the past few years, and he's come out and he's kind of really cleaned up his image, and he's gotten real religious. But can it be a front? And maybe not a front. Maybe he really is. Maybe he turned his life around. But this is the thing. Was he involved in bad stuff? And was he involved in bad stuff at the Diddy parties? Again, we don't know, but you got to ask that question because he's tied to Diddy. He's been at those Diddy parties. And even like Russell Simmons. Again, Russell Simmons was accused of a lot of bad stuff. Russell Simmons fled the country. So you really think he's not involved in these Diddy parties and did bad things and is on tape? You got to imagine he is, because he's tied to Diddy. They have relationships. Him, Jay-Z, like all those, and all these industry executives, all these label owners, they were all kind of interrelated. I mean, there's a few that were outside of the realm. Like, for example, you take Cash Money Records. They were never really involved with Puff and all the Russell Simmons, all those guys. Master P and No Limit, they were not tied to all those guys. Those two labels, they were kind of off on their own doing their things. Sure, did they do projects with artists on some of those labels? Yes. Were they like involved in them where they went to the parties and hung out with them? No, not to any of my knowledge. And again, those are all guys I've followed very closely for the last 20, 25 years. And they were never involved with Puff and that whole squad. Was Usher sort of like in the same area as Bieber, where he started off, he lived with Puff when he was like 13 years old. Like, who the hell sends their kid to live with Puffy when their kid's 13 years old? But they trusted him, and Usher even said, he was on Howard Stern getting interviewed, and he said that, in his words, that he saw some very curious things living with Diddy. And he wouldn't say what, and again, you can't blame him for it. And then Stern followed up by saying, because Usher's got kids, would Usher let his kids go live with Diddy and go to what did they call them? They called them they called them like rainbow parties or something like that, but it was a real weird name. It's slipping my mind right now. But he asked if Usher would let his kids go to the Diddy camps, and Usher was like, no, not a chance. So again, so what did he see? But this is the thing. So you got to imagine, was Usher a victim? Very, very well may have been. Now, did Usher become the criminal later on? Did he do things on the other side on the tapes? Did he do things on the tapes where he was the aggressor? That's a possibility. Usher's always kind of seemed like he's kind of stayed to himself. He's sort of been a family man. He's got kids. He's been married. He's been in relationships. It seems like he's tried to stay out of that whole scene. But you never know if he got dragged into it or if he didn't. I mean, my guess with Usher, I would say probably not. I would say, was he victimized? Yeah, very well, maybe. Was he involved later on? I don't think so. And Jay-Z is someone that, everyone's talking about, oh, Jay-Z's going down next. Jay-Z. And I know there's a lot of famous people talking online that Jay-Z's going down, and again, I don't think it's happening with Jay-Z. And people can disagree, and please disagree if you've got different comments, and people have disagreed with me on the Jay-Z thing. I tend to think Jay-Z is a little bit too smart for that, and people disagree with me on that too, saying Jay-Z's not that smart. And Jay-Z did have close relationships with Puff over the years. Jay-Z's had close relationships with Russell Simmons, who's been in trouble, and Jay-Z's had his own issues over the years with. He's had issues. If you follow, you know what I'm talking about. But I tend to think over the years, as Jay-Z's gotten older, see, like where you take like Puff, he seems like he's gotten more reckless. The older he's gotten, the more money he's made. He's gotten more reckless, more arrogant, more almost like that feeling of like he can't be touched. He wasn't worried about anything. Jay-Z kind of strikes me as he did bad things. And it's not a secret of some of the things he's done. Now, we don't know everything, but to me, he kind of seems like as he's gotten older, he's gotten a little bit smart, he's gotten a little bit more mature, and he's gotten a little bit more, maybe a little more cautious, where he's a little more aware that he becomes a target as he gets older, more famous, more money, that he's not untouchable. And that's what I think the difference between them two are. And that's why I don't think Jay-Z is going to get nailed. And that's why I think that if there were things going down and things that Jay-Z maybe was involved in at some point, he was smart enough, self-aware enough, unarrogant enough. What's the opposite of arrogant? Humble enough? Nah, it's not. Jay-Z's not humble, but he was self-aware enough to get out of the situation. The other interesting one, to wrap it up, is Leo DiCaprio. And what's funny about Leo DiCaprio is a couple things. First of all, I'm no fan of him. I don't like him. But I'll be fair. And that's what I try to do with anyone. Even people I don't like, I try to be fair. I always try to be fair with people. And his rep came out and said that he hasn't been affiliated with Diddy in multiple years. And I think the last picture they have of him is like during the quarantine of like 2020 or something. So it's been 4 or 5 years. Fine. But this is the thing. But he's tied to Diddy, gone to Diddy parties for years and years and years before. So you got to question, and the thing with DiCaprio, his image is just a little bit too clean, but yet he's always been on the cusp or whatever of lots of different scandals, a lot of different things, been involved with a lot of shady people, but he's just never touched. So it kind of makes you wonder, is he someone who just affiliates with bad people, shady people? Because someone like DiCaprio, you also got to understand that he's a guy like Puff, where people, because he's an A-lister, he's made all the money, he's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, that people are going to be attracted to him. And that means good people and bad people. Because I always hate the stories when you see, like, whether it's a politician, celebrity, or something, it's like this bad person took a picture with this person, so now this person's just as bad. Not the case, because everyone wants to take a picture with politicians. Everyone wants to take pictures with these famous celebrities. Everyone wants to be around them. Everyone wants to party with them, have drinks with them, whatever it might be. So is it one of those things where maybe he's the easy guy to get along with? He likes to go out, he likes to party, he likes to do things. And then when he sees things going sour, things going wrong, he gets the heck out of there. He's smart enough to just get the heck out and not be tied to the bad stuff. That's a possibility. That'll be interesting, because I think he's one that if there is any dirt on him, I think that they will pull. I think the feds would pull a guy like DiCaprio in. But again, too, is he got that squeaky clean image in Hollywood? Does he have enough powerful people with money influence that protect him? Yeah, I think that's a possibility too. And again, this thing with Puff, it's getting more interesting. It's getting juicier almost as the day goes by. And again, that, what the lawyer said, he basically, shouted out from the rooftops. He's saying, hey, here's what's coming. Be ready for it.